Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of Sitting with Sean Extraordinary. Today, I got a pretty awesome guest. His name is Wesley, and Wesley asked to be on my show. I asked him, and then he said, "You know, I'm ready for it. Let's do it." So here he is, Wes. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, bud.
And hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Wes, you're from Garner, North Carolina, right?
That's right. Well, Willow Springs to be exact. So it was Garner, but it's about 5 minutes away.
Yeah,
So you can say either or, Garner, Willow Springs, Euclid, Verena, Raleigh,
yeah,
that area.
yeah. Old stomping grounds for me.
Oh, yeah.
So, Wes, go ahead and give us a formal introduction of yourself, brother.
All right. Um, short, sweet, and simple. Spent 15 years in the military as artillery and aviation as a UH-60 helicopter pilot. Um, was medically disqualified because of hearing loss in my left ear. And so, we know how that goes. You know, you go
Yeah.
through a career full of opportunity, and all of a sudden it's like done.
Mhm.
And so now I work for the state of North Carolina, and just here trying to do what I can to make a difference. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I met Wes probably about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 years ago, I was just coming out of my recovery program, and I see this page pop up on Facebook, and it was a suicide awareness page, and I was like, this is different. You don't see that shit on Facebook. And I was like, okay. So I joined it, and I seen that there was a lot of veterans on there, a lot of family members of veterans, and it really stuck out to me. And I was like, holy shit, this has got something good going on here. And so, became a part of that community. And Wes was the spearhead. Wes is a spearhead.
Yeah.
And you know, uh, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but you know, I've seen amazing work that he's done, and um, there's an opportunity for him to share his story and share a different perspective from what everybody sees in the field of service work, because what he's doing is service work, and so let's get right into it, man. Tell us a little about your career, bro.
Um. So my so what I do now, I work for the state of North Carolina for emergency management. Um, a few different roles. I am the Civil Air Patrol manager, um, and don't let that fool you. I don't manage the Civil Air Patrol, which is an auxiliary of the Air Force. Um, I manage the section of emergency management that helps coordinate and support the Civil Air Patrol um, through the state. So the Civil Air Patrol supports us, the state, and we help coordinate, you know, from the state to the Civil Air Patrol. Um, I also manage the drone or the UAS program for the state, and I am the Air Ops coordinator for the state of North Carolina for any type of activations or emergency disasters or anything like that. So basically, when there's a natural disaster, hurricane or whatnot, I will go in and facilitate and help manage. That's where I'm at
Man,
now. It seems like a lot, but
well, don't discredit yourself, man. You're a man of many hats.
uh,
You wear a lot of hats, man. A lot of important things. When people are in trouble, you're there,
mm,
and that's and and that's kind of a running theme, especially in your career with the military. When people were in trouble, you were there,
Yeah.
and that's something that I appreciate, because I was boots on the ground in Afghanistan
Yep.
four times, and anytime that we ever needed air support, you guys were always there, man.
Yep.
And you guys took care of us, and you guys made sure that whatever situation was there, whatever threat was there, was eliminated with precision.
Oh yeah.
And I was one of those guys talking to you guys.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a fister. I was a 13 Fox, and I loved it, and I loved the thrill of it every time. Every time I heard, Hedgerow pop up on the radio, I was like, oh, we're about to fuck some shit up,
Oh yeah.
And every time I heard any name any call sign I was familiar with, Dark Horse, whatever. Like
Yeah.
I always knew that at that point where that help was on the way. Even when shit was going down, it was really bad. I knew help was on the way.
Yeah.
So
Unfortunately, in my tenure, tenure, however that word is, uh, as a aviation guy, as a pilot, I didn't have the opportunity to deploy, and I wish I did. Um, but unfortunately, due to medical issues and I've told you about it,
yeah.
um, flying one day and the next day I completely lost my hearing in my left ear. And so I wasn't able to continue on.
Wes, you there? Hello?
My aviation.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You
All
dropped off for a second there.
right. So as I was saying, I definitely appreciate those guys that were able to deploy and provide that support for you guys. But unfortunately, I was never that guy to be able to do that. So I want to make that clear. Um, I was in aviation, but I did training. I mostly did training. And I want to give props to those guys that actually went over there and conduct those missions and provide that support for you guys. And um, so, yeah, so kudos to those guys out there that actually that were able to go out there and actually do that. So
Yeah. When you were in the artillery, what'd you do in the artillery? Were you 13 Bravo?
I was 13 Bravo. Um, made it up to staff sergeant. I was a section chief, and yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Where all were you stationed? I'm at.
So once at Bragg, always at Bragg.
It's a
Um,
black hole.
yeah, funny story. So I was in when I first started, I was in first 321 field artillery and at Bragg, and then I got transferred after deployment to Iraq. I got transferred to third 321,
Mhm.
and then stayed there for a while, and PCS to Fort Riley, Kansas, for about a year and a half, and then I got orders back to Bragg.
Oh man.
And so here's the funny part. Uh, before I left, I was in um, uh, first section, Bravo Battery, 3221. I deployed. I PCS to Fort Riley, Kansas, and got orders back to Bragg to Bravo Battery, 3221, and I was put in first section. So I got put exactly where I was when I left. So
Oh wow.
yeah, once at Bragg, always at Bragg, they will suck you right back in.
Man, I remember when I was in 173rd and it was coming up time for me to PCS. I was like, I called Branch. I was a private at the time, so it really didn't matter. But I was like, hey, can you send me anywhere but Bragg? Because I heard horror stories, and
Yeah,
everybody that came from Bragg, I didn't like them. But I earned a I respected the shit out of them. Um, it's a different beast at Bragg, and they're like, yeah, well, anywhere but Bragg, okay. And then I got orders to Bragg. I was like, well, ain't this some shit? Um, so yeah, I got to brag, and I went to Fourth Brigade. I deployed with them, and then went to First Brigade before I PCS'd up here to Alaska. And each 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 unit is a beast of its own.
Mm-hmm.
You can do something in one unit, and then PCS to another unit, or do a unit to unit transfer, and that is a beast of its own.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, when I was in Fourth Brigade, dude, it was like the Wild West. It was the Wild West, and I got to First Brigade, and it was like the Parade Brigade.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was like the Parade Brigade. Like, it was like everybody's kit had to look the same. Hold on, we'll wait till he gets back. We lost him again. Yeah, the internet out in North Carolina ain't the greatest sometimes. It's not good here either in Alaska. But at any rate, until Wes gets back from his tactical pause, we'll call it a tactical pause. Um, Wes is a good dude. And Wes deserves every bit of respect that I have for him. And he deserves every bit of respect that everybody else has for him. It looks like we lost him completely. But Wes is in the field of service work with the Facebook page he's on. And he works really hard to help people out. And at the end of the day, he doesn't feel like he's making much of a change. Hey, buddy, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. All right. Hey, it happens. But yeah, so going back into it, um, it was a parade brigade, man. Like everything had to look dress right, dress. Even if you were going out to the field, everybody had to look dress right, dress. And I was just like, man, this is a shit show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So going into what you do now in the service work, man, let's talk a little bit about that.
About as far as
About the page and helping out people, and what your intentions are.
so, I would say about a year and a half ago. It all started with, you know, and this wasn't the only guy, but a good brother of mine that I'd served with, and really good friends with. His name was Jason Watson. um, he was a guy that always had a very good positive outlook, and he was one of those guys that you never would have thought had any issues, you know, and would have taken that ultimate step, and he did. Um, he had committed suicide, and it was almost a year ago. Yeah, I'd say about a year ago, a little bit more probably. Um, and so when that had happened, I had spoken with um, some senior leadership that was in the unit at the time when we were all together. We were trying to figure out, what can we do, because that was probably number five or six of people that I've been really close with that have committed suicide, and basically he was the last straw. He hit us hard. That guy did, and um, we were talking and trying to figure out, what can we do to make a difference, and not only not in a bigger scheme of just, but more just the guys that we served with, and just for the guys that we served with, just so we can keep a track with each other. And so I started it, and I called it Let's Talk on Facebook. And we added the guys that we served with, and within a matter of week and a week and a half, it was over 2,000 people that I had no clue who they were at all. And it was just random people that were out there searching for help, searching for people to talk to connect with. And so that's kind of how it started. And then it kind of, you know, um, went off the ledge. We're just, people didn't want to talk anymore. People didn't want to. People didn't want to share their story. So it kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, but that's where I had started it, and then after that I had joined and started volunteering for what's called Irreverent Warriors. I don't know if you've heard of them before.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started volunteering for them and kind of helping them out with their social media aspect of that. But so that's where I've been. That's where I'm at now. So yeah.
Well, I'll say, first off, I'm sorry for your loss, man. Sorry for all the guys that you lost, man. It's heavy. It's a heavy weight to carry.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I've lost quite a few myself, and it's not easy. You highlight it, and you said, we got together and we said, how can we change the atmosphere? How can we help? How can we end this? And veteran suicide, active duty suicide, it's at an alarming rate. It really is, and there's no science to it.
No.
And I wish there was. I wish there was a wand, a magic wand that we could wave and say, I hope you're better. Unfortunately, there is no such wand.
You're right, man. And that was the biggest thing for me is, I thought that when I started this page, of course, it was mainly for just the guys that we had served with to keep in touch, to look out for each other. And when all these when all the additional people reached out and joined the page, and it quickly became more than what it was just intended to be. I had high expectations, and it was on a very personal level, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I quickly developed a passion, and I still have that passion. I really do. But I had a passion for trying to make a difference. Try to start something that could at least help one person, that could help just make the difference in one person of not taking that step. That they could never take back. And it quickly became so personal that when I didn't get any feedback, or when I didn't get as as many people contributing to the outcome of what I was trying to accomplish, I kind of fell off the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Really did. Um, because it was personal. And, like you and I had talked about, it's not about me, you know, it's not about you and what you're doing. It's about that one person that it doesn't matter if they give feedback or not. It's about that they listen and on what they listen to, if it helps them out. And that's what I lost track of. And I mean, the page is still there. Um, it's still 2,000 plus members, but I haven't been as active as I should be in it because of that. Um, so yeah, so that makes sense
Well,
to you.
oh, it does. I do want to tell you that you that page was created over trying to look out for everybody,
Yeah.
But some of the things that you may not see behind closed doors is people reaching out to other people.
Yeah.
I had good buddies of mine that I invited to the page because they needed some real help. Want to get everybody engaged. I had people reaching out to me saying, um, I need help with my VA claims because I don't understand them. I had a buddy of mine that I've known since I was a private come to me and say, "Hey, man, I'm on the brink of suicide. I don't know what to do. My life has gone to shambles." And I said, I sat with him and we talked for like 2 or 3 hours solid. And the problem wasn't that he wanted to die or he just didn't have an outlet to get the help.
Yeah.
He didn't know any resources or any outlets. And through that conversation, he said, I don't trust the VA, this, that, and third. I said, you have the right not to understand that. I said, but the services that you are that are owed to you, you should take advantage of.
Yeah.
And from that, he applied for his VA benefits, and he's doing much better now. So I want you to know right here, right now, that just because you don't see things happening doesn't mean they're not.
Yeah.
And what you have done and what you created has an impact on people much deeper than you understand. And sometimes we're not good at conveying that. And I'll be the first person to apologize and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry. You didn't know."
Yeah.
And
I think that's the biggest thing, for people that they want to make that commitment to helping others, you know, um, in whatever capacity it may be, whether it's starting a Facebook page or um, just being there for somebody, and you pointed that out to me just recently, and it's it speaks highly. It's not about yeah, it's not about the feedback or the pride that I have. It's about what it's doing for those behind closed doors. And the biggest thing that the biggest thing that I've gotten out of that page, um, and that has helped me personally, um, is there was a guy, and I'm sure you've seen him, and I'll call his name out, Jonathan Wilson, 'Wilson,
mhm. 'Cause,
and you've seen him before on that page. Um, he was a private in my unit, and he was one of those guys that just that automatically had a label put on him, and he didn't serve, a very long term before getting out. And we always had this label on him of, and I'll just say, he's a shitbag. But when I started that page and when he joined and talking to him, I was absolutely blown away. Just the type of person that he became, and actually taking the time to sit down and listen to him and where he came from, and it made me feel like I was a shitbag. Because I never took the time to listen to him and to figure out where he came from in his life, and how as a leader I could help him. And to be honest, man, like that entire page, that's what I've gotten out of it. I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
Oh, it does. It does. The thing is that one interaction that you could have had with him, or the interactions that you had with him, could have saved his life.
Yeah.
Because I know I got a name when I was a private. I got a name, and I made the name for myself.
Yeah.
But I got a name, and we all got a name at some point.
Yep.
And sometimes those names don't leave. Sometimes those names don't disappear until we're clear out of service. And then when you get out, it's one of those things where, okay, well, I'm going to try and reach out for help, but who's really going to be there?
Yeah.
And the fact that you took the time to listen to him, and you served with him, and he trusted you enough to share that's huge.
Yeah.
It's absolutely huge, because he could have seen your name. He could look at your picture and be like, no, fuck him.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with him. I've done that before. I just recently reached out to a leader that I was absolutely terrified of. Absolutely terrified of it. But I modeled my leadership style based off of him. And the conversation that we had, I was able to communicate those things and say, hey, look, you're directly responsible for the way that I raised my soldiers when I became a leader.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yep.
And so those little interactions that we have with people, it really can shape the way that they go forward. Maybe he reached out to you and said, this is a ditch effort. This is a last ditch effort. And you were the one to really sit down and listen to him. You may have changed the prospect of the way that he looks at life now.
Yeah. Hey, you're right. You're right. And a lot of times I don't see it that way, and I think that's where I failed. And I guess my biggest thing is coming here and trying to ask, not only you, but others who might be listening, and who might make any suggestions, is how do I become a better influence, on everybody else? How do I become the advocate for those who are struggling? Yeah.
Okay. Suggestion. 1, be authentically you. Don't try and be anybody else.
Yeah.
Because we're going to fail every single time we try and be somebody else. But we will succeed every time we try to be our authentic self. Every single time. And that doesn't matter if it's being vulnerable and talking about the things that suck, It doesn't matter if it's being there for somebody, um, and just being who you are as a person and the caring person that I know you are. That's that.
Yeah.
Being there and being authentically you, and just being the best version of you that you can be. And sometimes the best version of you that you can be can only be 40%, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Sometimes it's 110%. Sometimes we give more than we're able to give. But sometimes we can only give 40%, and that's okay. That's completely fine. But being the best version of you that you can be every day, that that helps out a lot. And just coming to that point and realizing that it's not about you, it's about the people that you're helping. Because like a little thing about me is I worked in a clinic last year, and I was out here every day trying to help people, trying to help people, trying to help people. And I was like, they're not fucking getting it. And I
Yep.
was like, what am I doing wrong?
Yep.
Why are they not getting it? But then you get those one or two people that get it. And you're like, okay. And you still continue working on those things every day. And you still get with the people that get it and the people that don't get it. Because one day those people that don't get it eventually will get it. And the people that don't get it at that time and eventually will, it's all in their time.
Yeah.
I wish I could change people. I really do. I wish I had that fucking, hey, be better.
Yep.
You're fine. But that's not how life works. And life is sometimes can be a grueling thing, but
Yeah.
other times it can be very beautiful. And and coming to that point where realizing like, yeah, it's not about me, it's about the people that I'm helping. And even if I feel like I'm not helping anybody, there's somebody watching. There's somebody watching what you say, what you do, how you conduct yourself. And they're probably modeling themselves off of that and saying, well, if he can do it, I can do it too. And how is he doing it? This is how he's doing it. All right, cool. Boom. I'm gonna model myself off of that.
Yeah.
And finally, just and you've always done this, is make yourself available. And you're good for that, man. You're good for that, making yourself available. But know where the line is. Know where the line is. Because that, like I was, we were talking about earlier, those boundaries, man. Sometimes those boundaries are hard to establish, and saying no, I can't do this right now. That's okay. That's okay. Trust me, man. I I got to this point where at times where I'm like, yeah, I can't fucking do this right now. And other people, they'll get upset about it. They'll get upset about it. They'll be like, well, why can't you? Why can't you? Why can't you? It's like, because I can't. I, I can't. I need to
Yep.
take a little time for me.
That's 100% true. And it seemed like whenever I started that page, I would have people reach out to me and they would constantly ask me for help, 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 and I would do everything that I absolutely could um, to help. And I'm not going to go into detail about it because I'm not going to throw anybody else's name out there. And but it just seemed like you would get burnt, for putting yourself out there, putting your neck out there and it's beyond just the initial help. You'd go above and beyond, to try to get them what they need to succeed in life. And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
um, and so it kind of burnt some bridges. Um, and so I think you can agree with me that you get a lot of those, burned bridges more than you do um, people that actually that of.
Yeah. Yeah.
People that actually listen and take in what you're actually trying to do, and it actually helps them out because you don't get that feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because I'm a firm believer in, um, those people that actually need the help and they need to hear it and they need to um, you get on one night and you talk like we're doing right now, and somebody's going to listen to this and they're going to be like, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
But they're not going to go out and be like, type up like, hey man, thanks for what you did. I needed to hear that. They're going to keep it to themselves. It's a pride thing,
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to have those select few that are just, I don't know how I could put this.
Say what's on your heart, brother. That's fine.
No, I know. You have those people that take advantage of the situation. When they reach out, they'll take, and it's for the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
So that kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth whenever you're trying to accomplish something, when you're trying to build something, when you're trying to do something, and you have a passion for it. Because I had a passion for trying to prevent that one single person, and I don't care if it was 2,000 people on the page. I don't care if it was 3,000, 4,000. I don't care. It was that one person that I could prevent from making that ultimate sacrifice that they could never take back. That was my passion. But then you would have people that would come at you and and take advantage of your passion.
Yeah.
And they would burn it. They really would. And and so I fell off the wagon, man. I did.
The thing is, there's certain ways that we can help people. We can make ourselves available for them.
Yeah.
We can, we can listen to them when they got some shit going on. We can even reach out to them and talk to them. But there are certain things in life that we can't or shouldn't do. And that's where, if we can't do that, then we find somebody either A, that can, or B, that can point them in the right direction. Because I know for me, like I'm in, just hypothetically, but real for me, I'm in no position to financially help somebody out.
Yeah.
I got a family, I got bills. I'm barely making it from paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if somebody comes along and says, hey, I need help. Sorry, but I can help you out and I can get you to a resource that can get you help. Or, hey, have you filed your VA claims yet? No, you haven't? All right. Well, that's going to help you out financially. And that'll set you in a path that's going to help you. And it's not going to help you immediately, but it's going to help you in the long run. And so I need you to hold on until we get to that point. And there are things that we can take responsibility for and things that we can't. Now, if I'm able to, and I know somebody's struggling and they don't ask for it, I'm going to reach out. Like, for instance, I have a buddy that I met through TikTok, and he's 18 years old, and all he wants is to work. That's the only thing he wants to do is to work. But he's got extenuating circumstances at home that prevent him from working. And there's a financial thing. And it just so happened that I got a pay increase from the VA, and it just so happened I got some back pay, and I, without warning, I sent him a message to say, hey, do you got Cash App? He said, yeah. I said, all right, cool. And I sent him $300. And it had nothing to do with, he never asked for money. He never indicated that he had that he needed money. I've just been there and been able to listen and say, okay, this is the best way I can help him at the moment. Another thing is expectations. One thing I had to learn is expectations lead to resentments, which means if we go into a situation, and I don't think that you're going into a situation expecting things in return. But if we go into a situation and we expect people to act a certain way, and then when they don't, we get resentful toward them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, fuck you, man. Like, why do you have to be like this?
Yep.
Why does it have to be like this? But removing that expectation from the situation is going to help. It's going to help out tremendously, because at the end of the day, if you have no expectations, you can't be hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. and that's something that I've had to learn, and it's hard. It's really hard to remove expectations. Really fucking hard.
It is. It really really is. Um, and I was in the same situation. I think that's one thing that really burnt the bridge for me. And I'll say it. And if he watches it, I've already confronted him about it. And if he watches this, that's fine. I'm not going to say any names or anything, but um, when you have somebody that reaches out to you and says, "Hey, man, I'm struggling," um, I'm struggling financially to support my family, and I can't get a job, and everything else, right? And so
Hmm.
instead of saying like, hey, I got this money and I'll send it to you, I didn't do that. What I did is as I tried to help him out, I said, okay, well, what are you trying to apply for? What kind of jobs are you trying to get?
Hmm.
So he told me, and he told me a job that he applied for, and he has an interview coming up. And so I took it upon myself, and again, this is maybe this is too much of a pride thing for me. And I took it upon myself to reach out and try to find um, a big person within that company that he's applying for and write a letter of recommendation.
Hmm.
And so I found the contact for the CEO of that company, and it wasn't a small company. It was a very, very, very large company.
Hmm.
um, and I had to pay money to find the contact information of this CEO, and I did, and I emailed him, and I wrote a letter recommendation, by name, and I said this is where he's applying. This is who I am. This is what he is to me, and what I know him as, and he wrote me back, and he was like, I really do appreciate what you did, and I'm going to pass this down to the hiring manager. And he did. And so when I asked him, you know, how it went, he, he was like, oh, yeah, man, he offered me the job, but the pay wasn't that great. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, and this was after I had posted a a thing on Facebook or whatever, asking for donations to help this guy out in the meantime.
Yeah.
And so guys that had absolutely no idea who this guy was give their own money, their hard, earned money to this person to help him out, and then he turns around and it's like a slap in the face. And I hate to go into that much detail about it. And again, like, I don't care if he listens, but that's what burnt the bridge. And it's like, what am I doing? You know, um, am I putting myself out there for people to take advantage of 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 what I'm trying to do?
Hmm. No.
Um, but you're right. You're 100% right. Um, and the biggest things I wanted to get on here, and I wanted people to realize, if um, if they want to take the step to try to build something, to try to start something, to be an advocate for those who need help, that they have to watch out for those who will try to take advantage of what you're doing. um, and you got to get past that. I didn't get past that. That burnt the bridge for me, and I kind of fell off the wagon, and I shouldn't have, because I really did have a passion for it. And I still do, man. um, I've quickly found out that the people who actually need the help and actually need to listen to what you're saying is not going to be the type that's going to go out there and be like, "You helped me," you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so it's not about the feedback.
Yeah.
It's
I have a friend that's in a very high place, and she has a lot going on. She's pretty prevalent in a lot of different fields, and I've seen her disappear for a long time.
yeah,
And I had her number uh, because she is like, hey, if you need help with the VA stuff, I can help you. I got somebody on my staff that can help. I reached out to her. Little did I know that she was like contemplating, like, why the fuck am I doing this? Yeah, I stuck my neck out and I've been burned so many times. Why am I doing this?
yeah,
And she even said that to me. She said, why am I doing this? I said, it's because people like me, people that reach out to you and say, hey, I need help. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what you're doing for other people. Yeah, there's going to be people. There's always snakes out there. There's always leeches out there and vultures that are willing to pick the dead bones. But at the end of the day, those people that are snakes and vultures will make themselves known.
yeah.
And there's going to be people out there that want to see you fail, and I don't think that that's the case in this. But um, you know, we as human beings have to be empathetic and really understand that, like, that there are people that want to help, and those people that help have feelings, they have lives, they have emotions, they're really damaged by some of the actions that are taken toward them. And I'm really sorry that you went through that, man. I really am.
And I appreciate that, but I should have taken it upon myself to realize that, and I should have I should have gotten past that, and I should have gotten past my own, um, I guess you could say, desires of feedback and um, the pridefulness, I guess you could say, because when I started the page, I did not expect it to get to where it was, and when it did get to where it was, I was like, heck yeah, I'm doing
Yeah.
the damn. um, so it all boils down to exactly what you're saying. It's not about me. It's not about you and what you're doing with this podcast. It's not about me and that page. It's not about irreverent warriors and what they're doing. It's not about any organization out there that's there to prevent suicide, or the suicide awareness, all that stuff. It's not about them. It's about the people that are listening, and I failed to realize that.
Well, are you ready to get back up on the horse?
I think, honestly, I am. I really am, and it's just, but it's not. It can't just be me. I can get back on the horse all day long. But it's going to take people like you and I, um, and others with the same type of passion to team up and really, nip this in the butt, and we can't. And that's what we have to realize is we cannot ultimately fix the situation.
Yeah.
um, and we have to realize that. But I think I am. I'm ready to get back on it and try to come up with ways to really help, and give those people that need to listen an opportunity to listen. So,
Absolutely. Well, I'm here. Like I said, I'm retired. I don't do shit all day. I'm
yeah,
here. I got the time. I'm here. I'm willing to help. And I
Cool.
mean that. But this is the portion of the podcast I didn't tell you about. And this is the portion of the podcast I don't tell anybody about. Because I don't want you to expect it.
Okay.
All right. This is the portion of the podcast where I tell people why I like them.
Oh Lord.
All right.
All right.
You ready for it?
Go for it.
Well, first off, before we get into this, I want to say why I do this. I do this portion because we as human beings are terrible at taking compliments.
Yep.
And we don't hear them enough. And it really beats us up. Clearly, it beats us up. And I love doing this for people because it shows them that they are doing some good shit in this world. And that's why I created this podcast. It's called Extraordinary, because there's people that are doing extraordinary things. And right off the bat, I want to say you are a fucking amazing human being. You are. You are one of the best human beings I know. You know, you've been through some shit and you keep coming back. You know, you get knocked down, you keep coming back. You just said it. You want to get back on the horse. And I respect the shit out of that. I really do. Even though you've been burned, you still want to get up. You still want to get up. You still want to go. And I'm for it. And I'll be right there with you. So you won't have to deal with it on your own. I also admire the shit out of you, dude, because you're a family man through and through. Family man through and through. Old country boy too, man. I love that. There's something about an old country boy, man. Something about an old country boy that screams loyalty, and I love that. And I love that. And you know, I love the fact that you care so much about other people that you're willing to step out on a limb and help somebody that you don't know. And that takes a special type of person to do. So don't take that lightly. Don't say, "Oh, I'm just Wesley Powell. This is who I am." Because it takes a certain special somebody to do that. And I mean that. It takes a certain love for humanity, and it takes a certain love for your brothers and your sisters in arms to do that shit. And I really mean that. And I appreciate everything that you have done, and I appreciate the example that you have become for people to follow. And you are an example. You're an example for people to follow. You're a role model for people to follow. And regardless as if you see it or not, you are a fucking amazing human being. And I mean that.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man.
That's hard to accept, isn't
it? You know, it is. Fuck. It kind of renders you speechless. You know, I appreciate it because I don't give a lot at all. But I do appreciate it. But at the same time, what goes around comes around. So what I didn't tell you before starting this podcast was what I was going to tell you what I think of you. No. To be honest, man, just bottom line up front, the bluff of it all. You're a good fucking dude. And I don't care what anybody else says about you.
There's all these people talking shit. I think you're a great guy.
and how many times you get banned from TikTok, dude, you're a good fucking dude. And just the amount of time and effort that you put in to helping and paying attention to every single person that you come across, not just in a whole, but it's every single person that you come across. It's like you pay attention to them and it's like, what can I do for you? How can I help you out? And that speaks very, very highly of a person. Um, for me, it's like I got this the Facebook group, whatever. It's to that I have no idea who these a lot of these people are, and I try to help them out in a whole. But here you are, Sean, trying to um, get every person individually and be like, "How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What can I do for you?" And like we've talked about many times on over Facebook and whatnot. We've never met in person, and you came across the page that I had created on a whim, and you thought it was a good deal, and you jumped on board, and it was like, "Hello, my name is fucking Sean, and I'm here for you." um, and so, to be completely honest, if anybody was trying to be like anybody, I'm trying to be like you, man. Not only the person that you are and what you do, but also the beard that you have, and um, and everything else, man. And so you asked me if I'm ready to get back on the horse. Yes, I am, but that's only because of people like you who strive every single day despite the um, the leeches, despite the people that take advantage of you and everything else. Despite that, you still strive to better the world, to better our community, to be more exact. um, and that's what I appreciate, and that's what makes me want to get back on the horse, man. That's what makes me want to keep going. And it's kind of funny because I was talking to my brother right before I messaged you on Facebook, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, man, didn't you ever get on that page anymore?" And I told him, I was like, not as much as I should. And he's like, "Why?" And I told him the same reason why I told you. And he's like, "So that's just one person, And I'm like, "Fuck." um, so, and then after that, and then I messaged you, and I told you what the deal was, and why I'm kind of hesitating. And you were blunt with me, and bottom line up front, you're like, "Get the fuck over it." Not about you, buddy. um, so yeah,
I never tell people what they want to hear. I tell them what they need to hear.
and that's what it should be. um, and it's a learning curve, and it's definitely a process. um, I don't want to be some big time dude. I don't want to be, "Oh, that's Wes Powell." I don't want that at all. Um, all I want in life is to prevent somebody like Jason Watson, a good buddy of mine that I loved dearly, that I had no idea something was going on with him, take his own life. That's it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah.
Well, brother, we'll get back on that horse, man, and we'll get it going.
Hell yeah.
I'm down for it. I'm here for it. I live for moments like these.
Yeah. Same here, man. I really do.
All right, brother. Well, if you got anything that you want to say to anybody out there, if they're going through some shit, what would you like to say to them?
The biggest thing is don't keep it to yourself. There are people that there are individuals, there are groups, there are organizations, there are um, there are so many things out there um, that could help you out. Um, but they don't know that you're going through it unless you have the courage to reach out and talk to somebody. And that's where it starts. You have to be able to let go of your pride and share your story, to reach out, talk to somebody for them to be able to help you out. Because if they don't know, they can't help you.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and um, I'll say it to everybody like I always do. If I don't know you, I still love you. And you can find me on Facebook or wherever. And if you want to reach out and talk, I'll shoot the shit with you all night long. I don't care. My wife might get pissed off at me, but it's for a greater cause, and stands it. Um, but more importantly, I understand it, and I will sit there and I'll talk to you all night long. So, um, but all it takes is for you to have that courage um, to reach out and talk to somebody. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Wes, thanks for being here. Thanks for being vulnerable. Thanks for opening up and talking about what's bothering you, man. That's pretty huge. It's pretty
yeah.
huge. And welcome back.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back. All right, everyone. Thank you for sitting here and watching with us and hanging out with us for a little bit. Um, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And before we go, I want you guys to know you're extraordinary. You guys have a very nice day. Much love.